Despite many baseless threats, the Biden administration won't sanction the IDF units that was caught committing human rights violations and mass atrocities in the West Bank. 2022 and 2023 were the deadliest years recorded in decades for Palestinians in the West Bank due to IDF terrorist violence. So the Biden administration, desperate for a PR victory, announced that they would be sanctioning these terrorist IDF units that committed atrocities in the West Bank. And Israel wasn't happy about that. So the Biden administration was strictly told by their Israeli masters that their plan is unacceptable. So after being scolded by their master Netanyahu and Israeli war criminals, you had the Biden administration that decided not to sanction the IDF unit committing atrocities in the West Bank. So do you guys know, by doing this, Joe Biden is breaking international law and Leahy's law, which is on the books in this country, where we are not allowed to provide arms to regimes that we know are committing human rights violations. I always mention this because I cannot stress enough, as the ruling class sick the police state on us for protesting them, that the same ruling class are actually criminals who are breaking the law. So the stated reason why the Biden administration is breaking the law and continuing to arm and fund these terrorist IDF units is because Israel gave Biden assurances that they are taking steps to address the issue. Literally no one believes this. Biden doesn't even believe this. He's just performing his primary objective, enabling Israeli terrorism. What's poppin', my friends? As I just explained in my video, my hotspot video, big shout out to my homies at Hotspot. As I explained, Joe Biden is a criminal. Right now, you have a bunch of fascists that are upset because young people are protesting the genocide that our taxpayer money and our government supports. So what a lot of these fascists are saying, I'm going to show you guys an example of CNN posting what can only be described as pro-fascist propaganda, where they advocating mass arrests of students and even faculty members who are protesting. You know why they do? You know why they say that we need to implement fascism in the United States? You know why you have older boomers that are cheering on state violence towards younger people? Because what they say is, technically, what these protesters are doing is against the law. So we are dissidents who are opposing our government's criminal genocide. In the response of white America, and I'm not just talking about Fox News, my friends, I'm talking about liberal media. So right now we have the liberal wing and the conservative wing of the dominant political factions of the United States unapologetically calling for fascism, the mass arrests and punishment, the economic retaliations of anyone who opposes United States foreign policy. And they do it based on the grounds that the people opposing genocide, the tactics they are doing is illegal. Jim Crow was law in this land. The genocide of Native Americans was law of this land. So many Americans are quoting the fact that governments make laws as if law equals morality. So many people are so brainwashed, they think law equals morality. Do you understand how many evil, crazy laws that like the monarch in England, the monarchy in France implemented? The people who believe that the law of the land is morality, they are wagging their finger at people who are standing for international law. So the same people who wants to implement fascism and stop people from protesting under the grounds that they are breaking the law of like public fucking zoning, some bullshit law where the government tells us where we protest, those same people are covering for a criminal. And I'm not exaggerating. The Biden administration knows. That's why they won't say it publicly. But they know Israel is committing mass human rights violations. That's why Biden said that Israel is bombing indiscriminately. You guys are knowingly providing weapons to a country that's committing genocide, that is using starvation as a tool of war. And then they turn around and pretend they are for law and order when people protest the government. You understand how crazy white America, like this mainstream America mentality. And I'm gonna show you these white liberals, these white conservatives, they keep going on Fox News, keep going on CNN and say, we need to lock all these protesters up. They need to be fired, retaliated against. So what is the recourse for a population if the government becomes a criminal government like our government is? And that's not me being a radical. That's me quoting international law. So if I quote international law and our government, our ruling class is a bandits of criminals, what can we do? Can we take up arms and do what I recommend? Where we need a revolution and match the energy of our violent ruling class? That's what I propose, unapologetically, which is why I don't condemn Hamas. I am a supporter of revolution against these criminal, violent, genocidal scumbags in the ruling class. But let's say you disagree with me. Let's say you're to my right, including many of the people I agree with on these issues. You're to my right, and you be like, oh, Nick, we can't have revolution. We can't do that. That's too mean. So what is the other recourse that we have? Protesting. We can protest the government if you are not for stuff that's actually effective. Like taking up arms. It's a side hustle. It's something you do to help prepare for the revolution. So according to the ruling class, violence, revolution, intifada, completely off the table. So they're like, oh, well, you can demonstrate. Then students start demonstrating, and then the police bust their heads in. You had tear gas that's being deployed. Do you guys know that tear gas is a war crime? Using tear gas in war is considered a war crime. It has long-term effects and it damages the central nervous system. I showed you guys the report on how police in America have been lying to people about decades regarding tear gas. Oh, no, not a big deal. What are you talking about? There are people with asthma that you can kill with tear gas. There are pregnant women that was having miscarriages in mass during the George Floyd protest because of tear gas. On top of the other complications, I'm not a fucking doctor, on top of the other complications, but for years, they told you that tear gas is cool to use, even though it's considered a goddamn war crime. So we protest, we do the recommended action of the professional managerial class. The professional managerial class love protest. That means they can take selfies, they can put it on Instagram, they can put it on Facebook, and they're no threat. So they actually do show up to a protest, and then they still get their ass beat. Now, that's how fascist our government is. And people justify it on the premise that they're breaking the law as they're protecting a criminal who is breaking United States law and international law, funding the genocidal monsters in Israel.